Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair, and I won't be supporting this amendment this afternoon either, and I wouldn't say it's about suffering for the people. The governments of the day, for decades, have underestimated Auckland and underinvested Auckland, and we're now having it catch up, and it's too late. Too little, too late. And I don't know about you people, but I sit around this table and watch on a daily basis everybody trying to dive out this door at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Well, the privilege of the hard-working Kiwi out there across the Auckland region doesn't have that privilege because they get the sack. They've got to wait till they finish at 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock at night and make their journey either north, west or south. And like all of us around this table, the journey is becoming arduous and painstaking. And I look at the feedback in the Have Your Says, and I think there's about 147 comments made on it, out of the 1.6 million people that live in Auckland. I said 2 weeks ago around this table, Auckland Road and Transport Network is at crisis point, and within 3 months' time, we are going to be up the creek without a paddle. We're going to be in gridlock. Now, I eat my words if that's not correct. But I see that Southern Motorway on a daily basis, and it's bad news. If I listen to the freight movers, the courier drivers, the truck drivers, the small companies, they're having to now work 4 days a week. I even heard the other day from a number of companies, they don't even come into Auckland City on a Friday anymore because it's just too damn difficult. Businesses out there are suffering big time. On average, it takes 2 to 2.5 hours to come from the airport to go either north, well, generally to go south or north. It's a mission. Our freighting companies are really struggling. If I look at some of these companies that employ 50, 60, 100 staff, they are going to struggle. And they're going to suffer because someone's going to get laid off. We have to do something. This wasn't a one that went down well. We know that. But the government were looking for something. The government wanted us to see what Auckland Council was going to do 12 months ago. Whether it was a congestion charge, whether it was tolling, or whether it was a transport levy. People don't like either, but we had to do something. But we see the rewards of that now with this transport levy as it is. We see the $26 million bus interchange at Manukau. It's going to create 19,000 bus movements a week for the north, for the east, the west and the south, that hopefully will get people, young people, into jobs. The $19 million bus interchange at Otahu, first time in decades. That's hopefully going to transform Otahu and Mangere and Onehunga and get the movement happening there to get people into public transport. I look at this Drury South project. 64 million will go into that to create 12,000 jobs, so people don't have to travel up that Southern Motorway in gridlock straight away. And I'll keep going on. I'm sure you've heard it all before from me. I say, don't tinker with it. Leave it in place. The people have accepted it. They are sick and tired of being on that Southern Motorway, that Northern Motorway, and the Western Motorway, and taking 2.5 hours either to go to work or go home, and generally 5 hours out of your life on a daily basis. That's 5 hours a day away from your family life. Yeah, I got quoted the other day from Mr. Slater saying, "Oh, he must be happy at home. He leaves home at 5:10 in the morning." Well, I'm welcome to come down the Southern Motorway at 5:10 himself and have a damn well look. But that's reality. So people, I urge you today, leave it where it is, let it go for the next 2 years, and let's build Auckland and give the people something to look forward to.
Thank you. Councillor Walker.
Is that me?
Yes.
Okay. Just
Well,
couldn't hear you for a moment there.
You didn't have Sir in front of your name.
Just in part reply to some of the comments that Councillor Wood was making,
Councillor Wood hasn't spoken.
Well, about our people,
Invite him now.
referencing the Albany ward, we listen to the people in our ward, especially the business people, and as much and all as Councillor Clow is right, it would be great if many of these very large businesses paid more. Unfortunately, you also capture the small businesses. Most of the businesses in our ward are small businesses. As much and all as businesses are performing well, it is still pretty tough out there, and an increase from $183 up to $407 for a lot of small businesses, and these are businesses that might only be employing 5 people or more, is a lot. So we've listened to our businesses and the people that represent them, and I'm talking about the business improvement districts, Browns Bay, Tor Bay, Wairangi Bay, North Harbour. These people have had an opportunity to consider the impact on this, and they've lodged pretty compelling, pretty well worked through submissions. So, Councillor Wood, we do listen, we're backing our businesses, and we're backing our communities as well. So, as much and all as I'm not comfortable with this transport targeted rate, I think we could have done it other ways. We've got it right now, and it's important that we don't impact on businesses any more than we are now. And again, that is particularly the small businesses.
Thank you. Councillor Watson.
Yeah, just very quickly to add to some of the points Councillor Walker made there. I agree entirely with the intent of Councillor Clow's amendment here, entirely justified, came about as a consequence of a flawed process. In fact, there was really no process at all. It was just sprung on us, and the outfall of that is that the poorer properties are getting hit harder. My concern is that we don't sort of compound that inequity then with businesses. And as Councillor Walker said, we have the second biggest business association in Auckland. It's expanded boundaries of 4,000 members. It's very clear from the stats analysis that they've done with a property average valuation of 2.9 million in the new setup, that they're going to get hit. And I think, as one of the other councillors remarked, just because their property value is high or highish, that doesn't mean to say commercially they're making a lot of money or can afford to foot that increase in levy. As a consequence of all that, and to try and be fair and try and be consistent, we don't think it's really at this relatively late stage, we're a year in already, to change a situation which, in all honesty, was bought into eventually by businesses on the premise that it was going to be $182. To kind of change the game halfway through, no matter how justified, and it is justified in terms of the people that are getting hit here, I don't think it's a wise course of action. So as a consequence of that, rather reluctantly, but in order to back the community, perhaps more than the people of Birkdale and Beachhaven and the UAGC, we'll be backing our business community.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Member Tamahiri.
Oh, yeah, Madam Chair, I just wanted to commend Councillor Clow. This is a very well thought piece of work, and having said that, and looking at its cost neutrality and all that put to one side, what Councillor Cashmore has indicated is we need greater evidence on traceability to levy cost, for want of a better. So rightly so, Blinken Sky City should be paying a hell of a lot more, even on drug addiction and Blinken, all the rest of it. Now, that's another story. So I was just trying to get back to the point that, of course, they should own up, because they do attract a lot more transport coming in to that den of iniquity. So the issue is if we could have more traceability, more visibility on our businesses and understood better who is actually responsible for the greater loads. We understand transport because they've got hubometers and so on and so forth, and they're rated accordingly. So we've agreed at the Independent Mining Statutory Board that the Mayor's package No one likes the mayor's package, okay? Because here's the problem. Here's the problem.
That's debatable.
No, well, here's the problem. You all want to go to heaven. None of you want to die. So we all want things, and we don't want to pay for them. You see, and then what we try and do is alleviate the adverse impacts on the communities that varied communities that we represent. And I get that, but. So, in a nice way, I'm just saying to Ross, we're not voting for you, but the point is, I'm just trying to get you to understand.
I never expected you to anyway.
No, thank you, Ross.
You're next.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So what I think, and I was wanting to say this before, is that some of the information that wasn't put in front of people at the Have Your Say events, that we've got 123,675 small businesses that don't employ anybody. They work in their own business.
That's true.
That is huge. That is, that's something like 70% of small and medium enterprises. And if you take it to less than 10, it's 164,000. So we've got people who own their own house and they're paying rates on that, and they're also paying rates on their business, and their margins are often very, very low. And so those are the people that I'm thinking about here. We've got empty shops in Henderson, and I drive through other places, empty shops, because people just can't make a buck with the added costs. So, and I'm sure there'll be people during the election in my ward that'll be saying that councillor didn't want to vote for a decrease in rates. She didn't want to give you 50 cents extra a week in your pocket. But I'm confident that the people in Councillor House in my ward are happy to pay that 50 cents extra a week for $23 million just for Te Atatu Road improvements this year. 23 million, an extra 28 million in this annual plan for busway purchases, for Westgate, for Westgate we've got Red Hills Road, and all of those things that we really, really need when we're going to take 22% of the regional growth. And that's the biggest issue for our community is transport. And when they see it happening, they won't begrudge not having 50 cents a week taken off their rates, because that's the amount it is. But I'm sure I'll have that whacked at me, but I do have the answer for that. And I see already along the motorway in the last couple of weeks the work that NZTA have been doing on our motorway, and sadly we got to miss the opening of that this morning. Huge piece of work, a joint venture between Auckland Transport and NZTA, and this council's doing really well on these joint partnerships, and thanks to the Mayor and Councillor Cashmore for your work on that, and that's only going to get better. And so people are starting to see the advantages of the huge, I think it's $3 billion a year in Auckland from Auckland Transport and NZTA, and that's what people want. We know it's the #1 issue on all of our feedback, is get us moving. And so I think people are fine with it, and people do need to know, business owners and households, it's a 3-year levy. Let's know what we're dealing with. Let's not keep chopping and changing. And I'm, if I'm back, I'm looking forward to maybe another option for addressing this. I don't know what it is yet. We might get some news on that, but the reality is $20 is neither here nor there, just as the people who voted, when you vote against higher UAGC, they said that was neither here nor there for people that didn't want a higher UAGC. So look, in the end, we've got to pay for stuff. We've all got to pay for it. And I'm very much to be convinced of big businesses being able to be proved that they are the cause of all the transport woes, because we're Aucklanders, individual households are buying 8,000 cars a week. So that's a huge impost. That is not all business. That is all of us need to take the burden of this. Thank you.
Thank you. And can I just very quickly say, one of the things that concerns me is we continually talk about this as being something for public transport. It's not public transport, it's transport. It's sealing my roads. Thank you, I had to get that in. Councillor Cracks.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. Ross, I'm sorry to say, but I won't be supporting this, and I think you've probably made that fairly clear to you already.